All right. Welcome back to the Long and Thick podcast, where your two jet-setting snow monkey uncles help you navigate the noise and cut through the bullshit in the health and wellness space, except for today.
Yeah.
Maybe not. We're not doing that today. Tell us what we're doing today.
So today we said, fuck it. And we're going to just reminisce and recap about our trip to Japan.
Yes.
A little bit of like background context. I'll paint the picture of like why Japan, what even happened. So I've been wanting to go to Japan for a long time. Daniel has been in the past, and I wanted to go originally for my 30th birthday. That didn't happen. And then one of my buddies, Tristan, was like, yo, go for your golden. And I was like, oh shit, I'm a Halloween baby. So I turned 31 this past Halloween and didn't go for my birthday,
Sure.
While in October, but said in this year I will go. And what's sort of funny too is to think about it. I'm in my like 32nd year, so like sort of fucked up, but whatever. You know how like birthdays are like wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, like I'm like halfway, like it's a whole thing. Anyway, decided to go, and Daniel had some lovely opportunity open up and was like, yo, is that invite still open? And I was like, fuck yeah. And so
I'm jumping in someone's suitcase and I'm tagging along.
Literally, yeah. I was like, I will be there regardless. And it was way better that way. So me and Daniel and one other friend, Mike Korb, all head out and fucking had the time of our lives.
Yeah, it was sick. It was an ambitious trip. Almost didn't happen for me.
True.
Well, in the way that we had originally intended.
Yeah,
we had an
nutty.
ambitious itinerary, per the chaos of usual airline happenings in today's world. The flight that arrived to take me to my first connection, they pretty much got on the intercom and they're like, this thing's dead on arrival. We cannot fly this thing to Detroit, especially in cold weather. So we're working on it. Like, as I see out the window, there's a cartoonish, going on of a man inside an engine, like feet in the air.
Oh my God.
Dude, I was like,
doing the fucking dangling.
Like some Flintstone shit. I was like, well, I'm definitely not taking that flight.
Yeah.
But long story made medium, after begging, pleading, bribery, with the gate crew, I finally were able to change airlines completely. No change out of pocket. Get to Chicago instead of Detroit. Get to Tokyo only 4 hours later, when my initial rebook was supposed to be like a day and a half later, thankfully. So
man, I remember when you texted us and I was like, oh fuck, like tell me like he's going to miss like a day and a half, because we're already, for those of you who don't know, from Nashville, it's 15 hours ahead. And so
you're losing a day.
You fly there and you're fucking -2. So it's like, all right. And then we're thinking, okay, he's not going to make it in time. And like, then what?
Yeah. And with how our schedule was aligned, I mean, we had reservations first night, next morning, and then pretty much had to get on a train to get across the country to Kyoto, which was already booked. So had I not made that, I would then have to rebook a bullet train flight, or bullet train ride, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then either get there Saturday night instead of Friday night, or Sunday morning.
Ugh,
and
man,
you and Michael could have just been like, hey, we're
sorry, dude.
Sayonara, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
So all that being said, actually got there, only missed a couple hours, had a maddening little romp through customs and immigration, and then the most spirited sprint through multiple train stations, because we had a reservation for a speakeasy that was hard come by, and they had like a 10-minute grace period for lateness.
Yeah,
so,
you waltzed down those stairs at 10:05.
Yeah, and we had till 10:10 to make that shit work.
It was out. Most of the trip was out of a movie. There were so many little moments. I'm sure we're gonna be like, wow, that especially. Oh yeah, that too. But that was, I mean, just to kick it off, like, yeah, unreal.
Yeah, and for those listening, most people don't have Japan on their radar as like a destination thing.
Yeah.
They may say like, oh, it's, one of the most populous cities on earth. It's responsible for a lot of technology, things like that. But there's not a lot of understanding or intention behind the visit there. So when I tell people that it's my favorite place on earth, they're like,
Why? Yeah. How did you even?
Yeah, because it doesn't have the gravitas, doesn't have the sexiness of an Italy or a France or a Switzerland. But it really does once you're there. And the cultural experience and exchange and what you can absorb there and also relinquish there too. Like,
that's true.
You just, anxiety, all that seems to, I mean, unless you're talking about certain like busy hour trains and getting through customs and immigration.
I'm seeing that picture in my fucking head.
Yeah, there's an immortalized picture of me descending into the purgatory of people, getting crushed deeper and deeper into the well of this fucking subway.
Eyes
and you can only see my eyes over someone's shoulder, and I'm like, well, this is how I go.
I fucking love
that shot. This is how I go. But yeah, no, Japan is a truly special place. It's a truly special culture, and you don't understand it until you're there.
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to go for so long, and I'm so thankful that both of y'all had been there prior, because it made my, I don't know, fear. I don't really get worried about travel at this point. I've traveled so much, but like not having any language barrier, like crossing. Normally I'm with somebody who's like for sure fluent, and then I have my own splashes
stumble
of
through
stuff.
something, but the barrier of entry of Japanese is so high and so not intuitive.
True.
So it's a lot of thankfully there are infinitely more people there who will speak English than will ever find Japanese speaking in America, which makes it a little bit easier. And then you have Google Translate, and then sometimes just hand signals, and someone's like, "Oh, you poor soul, let me help you. I know what you're trying to say. I'll take you there." And like, "Oh, thank you."
Man, yeah. Have you officially started like the
not yet?
The
no,
plunge?
It's I do. What he's alluding to is actually learning Japanese, which is Mike, Ronnie, and I have a strong ambition to get some sense of fluency for future visits, because there will be future visits.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it really does make such a big difference for anyone who's traveled internationally. The way that you get to experience the culture, even having, I don't know, a third of fluency, is such a beautiful difference. Like just from your restaurant interactions to meeting people, and the little exchanges like usually light up the native person's soul, because they're like, holy shit, wow, I wasn't expecting a thing that looks like that to, spit out those sounds and
actually take the time and intention to relate on that level and be able to communicate, which
as you should though. That's not like an extreme, like, wow, you're trying to do that. Like that should be very normal for people visiting other countries. Like it's very respectful. I can't imagine not thinking that as, being a normal thing to undertake.
Unfortunately, it's not though. The vast majority probably operates a little bit in the other side of the spectrum, in the sense of we are so conditioned for experiences and catering and just having these curated little moments and destinations, because we see it on social media, Instagram reels, which again, we drank the Kool-Aid. My algorithm got so horny for Japan because I just started looking at some stuff. We start sending and saving things back and forth. God, and after a while, little Miss Instagram, she's just like, oh, I got you. Yeah. Everything you want to see about Japan, that's all you get.
That is literally all it is.
And we're just sucking it down gleefully.
Yep. The save page was unbelievable. Especially like I don't know, 2 days prior, I feel like we exchanged fucking 800 more options. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna do anything actually. Yeah,
I mean, we had 9-ish whole days there. Our interest map on Google Maps that we fleshed out for this trip was over 200 places. And
we did fucking work,
dude. And we're like, we'll get to like maybe like a tenth of this.
No,
like we blazed.
We like missed a tenth of it. It's like what it feels like.
It was crazy. And in our post on social media, I think it's very accurate that we really did make 9 days feel like 30.
Yeah, and the amount of people that were like, "What the fuck did you do besides drink coffee?" I said the way I've been explaining it was like we basically used coffee as our North Star throughout the day, a little bit into the night sometimes, and then speakeasies and unique cocktail experiences and things in that space, through the evening.
With a couple threads of shopping and cultural absorption, whether it be history or, local religion, things like that. Temples, castles, shrines.
Yeah. I mean, we we landed, shoved straight off into Kyoto for a hot minute. How long do you feel like it took you to like get into time zone normalcy?
I don't know. I think the fact that I was so anxious and then thankful to get over that initial hump, whatever that distraction was a really, really good reset.
Yeah.
So I didn't really feel, aside from just communicating with friends and family back home and being like, oh, like it's a 15-hour difference. We're in two separate
we just finished
days.
A day. That you haven't even started yet.
That was more of a complexity of just keeping track of it. But myself, I didn't feel too much of the wear and tear of that, time zone change. What about you?
Yeah, I same. I mean, initially when we landed, I was so just like, what the fuck is anything? Like looking around the airport and like, where's my bag? What's a bag? Like just so tired. Yeah. My eyes were like fat and made of sand. And just like, I was trashed, like mentally trashed. And then we went and sat in the fucking street for an hour waiting for you to somehow make it miraculously. Like I just was like, nothing was real. We went to bed in our tunics that night and then, which I like forgot that shit happened. That's the perfect point of like it being a month. It was like, there was so many things that happened and I'm so grateful that it was so packed and that we were a small enough crew of healthy, very like-minded in our attitude people that could just like flow with that.
Yeah, with a lot of overlap in our interests too, which made it very, very nice. And I will say too, with how ambitious the itinerary was, a week and a half at that pace is about all you can really ask for before it starts wearing on you.
True.
But as a tip to anyone trying to maximize their travel days and maybe even on a truncated length of time, is something that we got very intentional about was almost like stopping after every single experience and really reflecting on it, journaling at the end of every night, because anyone who does a lot of traveling or touring in music, everyone kind of all agrees that your first 2 days, 3 days feel really long. And then if you don't really keep yourself grounded, your brain has an interesting little way of blurring it all together. You fly through these things and you might be experiencing a ton.
Sure.
But your check-in and your inventory of those things the resolution goes way down. Yeah. And then you get crushed with the realization, you're like, oh, I go home in a day. And then that day
it feels so sudden.
Down.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I was very, very thankful for, is that all three of us were very, very mindful of trying to take everything in. While our pace in doing things was incredibly fast, our relishing of the experience was very slow. And that's what really made the trip probably the most enjoyable trip I've ever been on. But also just twice as engaging and charming, because I still to the day, I basically want to write a short story of the trip because so many cool things happened. But I mean, I pretty much can go through every single day almost
because of that. Yeah.
And with pretty good recollection.
For sure.
I mean, I might miss a couple things here and there, but it's pretty concrete in there because we did it that way. Yeah. Which I would recommend to anyone do. Is like really like, you don't have to do a blistering pace thing like we did. In fact, I probably
maybe don't. Yeah.
I want our next trip to Japan to be a little bit more relaxed
and for longer.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And really just not have to do anything. But anyone that does travel and is trying to check a lot of boxes, just really take some time. And if you can share it with people, talk about it, like really reflect on what you did. I think that was a really good advantage for us on that trip.
Yeah. There were so many times where we're like recanting things from the day. I feel like my memory is typically pretty good, but I was just like a space cadet because of this. Yeah. And thankfully, between the two of you, and maybe I would contribute to this sometimes, I'd be like, wait, when was that this morning that we like went and did this? And you were both like, yeah. And then we did this, and you're like, no, you just skipped like fucking 4 hours of like, and then we stopped here and then did this, and then we went over there, and then you bought that. And I was like, holy shit. So definitely a very valuable nugget of things to look back at. The other really cool thing about the way that I would say you and Corb did more of this, just because I had a digital camera, is taking film and making like a book, like from the time that you arrive to the time that you leave of, just like capturing as many moments as you can. And just, I'm definitely going to print out like a coffee table book after having.
I'm a bit apprehensive just on my own like creative imposter syndrome, but
dude,
of the people,
fuck you, because those pictures are fucking sick.
I appreciate that. It's just one of those things where
no, wrong. I don't care.
Pretty much every single person I've shown, humbly speaking, has said that like, yes, this needs to go to print something. Like,
yes.
And again, it is my favorite work of photography I've ever done.
Sure.
For those who've never been to Japan, everything is picturesque. Everything.
Yeah.
And whatever your vibe is, how you like to document, if you like metropolitan stuff, architecture, vintage things, any sort of aesthetic,
it's all there.
Yeah. Lifestyle, landscape, doesn't matter. It is there in such abundant supply.
Yeah.
That was my only like kind of anxiety thing too, is being that my medium was film, actually getting the shot I wanted. Like, sorry guys, we're trying to do so much, but then, I'm trying to make 1 or 2 shots count, making sure that the people are in frame or out of frame the way. And it's like, it really slows down the process, but I'm happy.
I mean, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Being on the other side of it felt very like, you're also like, oh, just like leave. Like we would walk like maybe fucking 100 feet at most, and mostly because we didn't realize you were taking a picture, but it never felt like a burden or any kind of thing like that.
That's good.
And the pictures like were unbelievable. Like,
thank you, man.
Yeah. Did you develop all of them already?
7 of the 9 rolls have been done.
Okay.
2 of them are a cinema film that I'll send out that I've just yet to do.
Sure.
But yeah, 7 of the 9 rolls are done.
I want to see that one picture I took. That's going to look like a bag of dicks somehow.
Yeah, I gave Ronnie the last shot on the last roll. It'll be fine.
No. It'll probably be. I can see it still in the sight picture. I'm like, or the sight finder. I'm like, yeah, I remember the moment and where and all the things. But yeah, man.
What do you think was your most valuable lesson learned on that trip of any sort?
That's a crazy ass question, because I wasn't sure how punchy we were going to get with this, but I don't even know if we've like talked about this actually much.
Even better.
Which is actually way better. Did I tell you that like there were a couple times waking up randomly throughout the trip that I just thought I was like dying?
No.
And I had this, like,
I mean, there's one morning in particular. Yes,
no, not like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I felt like I had this desperate clawing to like maintain reality. Like, and I don't mean like I don't want to leave the trip. I mean, like I felt like I was like so aware of impermanence. That is for sure my biggest takeaway. If I could put it in the smallest nugget, it would be that. But I felt that in ways that was so mentally and emotionally intense that I couldn't even really like start to unpack any of thinking about it until I came home. Because I didn't want to. Not that I was like came home and cried on the floor like, well, like nothing's forever. It was more just like the fucking heaviness of recognizing like the night in Osaka, like I don't want that moment to ever end. But the thing that makes it so beautiful and profound is that it is already gone, and it's gone as it's happening. And it's just like, it's leaving you as you are experiencing it. And that's what makes it so remarkable and beautiful. And really, it's so easy to not step back and like intentionally cherish things.
Sure.
And I think this was like a big slap in the face to like slow the fuck down and how quickly life feels like it can go by.
And what actually is important and what isn't.
100%. I mean, thinking about the likelihood of how soon we'll get back to something like that, like, is low. Like, you and I have more, freedom to go, but like between Corb coming back with us and him and Karina are going like before for the anniversary, like all amazing stuff, normal life things that just, I don't want to say they get in the way, because they don't, that they just are. they get in the way of how you want to like control recreating something that felt so amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, capturing that lightning in a bottle.
And you can't.
Yeah, you can't just serve that up.
No.
Like, hey, round 2, this date, it's going to be exactly the great thing. No, it was a truly unique experience that was honestly, minus a couple small, like incredibly trivial snags, was pretty much perfect start to finish.
Yeah. No one got sick.
Yeah.
Like no one got a flu in the middle of a huge outbreak of flu while we were there.
There was a lot of talk about that already. Like, you do
literally,
know
we landed, and everyone was like, "Get ready to die," and we were like, "No."
Oh, yeah, no, it came aside from just running ourselves into the ground
and still not fucking falling apart. I mean, my like feet died for like 2 days, but that was breaking in boots and whatever, and 30,000 steps, per day kind of vibe. So
yeah, the step counts were getting gnarly.
Yeah. I mean, well worth it. What about you? What do you feel like was like one of your biggest takeaways or some of the things happening like behind the scenes of your, brain?
Yeah, it's tough because we, on this side, Western culture, it's so fast paced, and for no other reason other than this like mock idea that we have to be as productive as possible.
Sure. Yeah. Fuck.
And some of it doesn't amount to anything. It's like the performative aspect of being productive or looking productive.
Yeah.
Where that doesn't exist there. It's just as sirens go mad behind us.
Yeah, we'll see what that does.
Someone dropped my mixtape. Anyway. But yeah, no, that's the one thing that like even like unraveling from that trip and doing the air quote creative thing or the, social media, it felt a little trivial coming back because everything there is so intentional and so well designed, and there's no excess and people don't act in a performative way. At least what we experienced. I'm sure every culture is going to have that to some degree, but yeah, it just, like you said, slowing it down and really paying attention to the stuff that matters.
Yeah.
And it's a really weird dichotomy of having to hustle and build your brand and do all those things here. I mean, much like we're doing with this.
Sure.
Which is very exciting. But then just to have this constant reminder and reinforcement that just slow down, appreciate things, and the things that you do pour yourself into, don't get ahead of yourself. Just make those things as close to perfect as you can.
Yeah.
Which is not to be confused with overthink everything and make sure everything is perfect.
No.
But just every little bit that you approach your craft with, just try to make it a little bit better each time until you're getting closer to it being truly perfect.
Yeah.
So that is something that is going to be lasting for me. And I felt that the first time, but it was twice as powerful this time. It's just like, man, it's really stop and smell the roses. We all balance a ton of spinning plates.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't. And I think one thing I want to like touch on that I don't want listeners to feel like we're like these honeymoon-eyed, naive people, like, because we're not. What you're talking about, I think, hits in a way for us visiting, and not to say that like Japan or Germany or Switzerland or some place that you love to go to and culture that you really, really love doesn't have like the same flaws and problems and issues. Had Daniel grown up in Japan, he'd probably be like, fuck this place.
Yeah.
I know people that have left that are like, I'm never going back. So
your boy,
call out my guy. Yeah. I got to learn about that. But all that to say, it really like reinforces what we were talking about on a previous episode, that like there's just no supplement like travel for just rocking your fucking world.
And good, bad, and otherwise.
Yes. And that's, all of those things are good because it can move you forward just as a human being.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, dude, the simplest shit, we had a coffee tour of Japan, but like every cup that I've made thus far, I'm trying to embrace that same mentality, and not in some like neurotic crazy way, but just in like a, wow, like I am so thankful to smell the freshly ground beans and just like experiencing.
For sure.
Like
just really just slow it all down and like live in a moment a little bit longer. I know we all have these crazy fill-packed days and we're balancing too many things, families, careers, creative things. Even people's R&R sometimes feel more anxious than it needs to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, really just trying to trim the fat and live in what's the most important. You know, do right by your people, do right by yourself, but really just most things in life, especially in our consumerist society, not to get too heady with it, it just weighs you down. It distracts you. It doesn't add any value. It's like the illusion of value.
Yeah, that's a great segue into, I was about to say that one of the coolest observations I feel like I had looking back at our time there was like, obviously Japan, maybe this isn't obvious. Japan is very known for efficiency. Just as they've progressed as a nation, as a people, like their efficiency is remarkable and beautiful at that. And within that, even in simple things like coffee shops, you recognize that something like the way that space is managed is so intentional and efficient. Ooh, yeah, same word. I mean, it really is though. Like, and you think about the American way of, you know, a 45-foot ceiling and foyer that no one ever sits in. And it's just, we have this like showmanship bullshit. And I'm sure they do too. I know they do. But the point is that like
everywhere, but they don't need it everywhere either.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the contrast of being there and seeing another way, like learning that there are other options to live and just like changing it up is just, is so incredible and beautiful. What was your, this is impossible to answer. What was your favorite cup of coffee?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
All right. Top three. I don't know why I asked what's the favorite. I hate when people ask that because it's so tough. Just say top three. It makes it like such a easier thing to answer.
Well, I mean, I can tell you number one. Yeah, no, there is actually a direct answer. I'm pretty sure everyone would probably agree. That natural processed crazy cherry juice bomb in Kyoto. That was from the Kita OG Roastery Lab. It was the loudest, dumbest juice coffee of all time.
So for sure that was the craziest to me.
Yeah.
But taste wise, I did not enjoy that the most personally.
I was enamored with how much flavor can come out of the coffee. And there was a gentleman, I mean, there are different tropes of coffee shops in Japan, much like anywhere, you know, in your third wave style coffee. If you're not into coffee or like, what the hell are they talking about? Just maybe skip ahead. I don't know. Because specialty coffee, you know, is really important to Ronnie and I. I can attribute my incredibly deep budding interest between Ronnie, my buddy Adam Easterling, and then JJ Johnson from Subliminal Coffee, shout out, to really get me the most obsessed with it and really show me the finer things in coffee and what it can actually bring to the table. But one of the tropes in Japanese coffee is these more like sterile lab type atmospheres where it's very professional, very sterile and modern feeling. The baristas wear lab coats. Excuse me. But young woman just absolutely crushed all of our coffees. It was delightful. And then another gentleman came in, donned his lab coat, and we're sitting there just perplexed of what we're drinking and putting on our faces right now. I just looked up at him and like pointed at my cup, and he just like, in almost like anime fashion, just like a smile with like squinty eyes, just like he knew. He's just like, yeah, I got your ass, bitch. Like I know what you're drinking and I know how crazy it is. So you're fucking welcome, you stupid tourist idiot.
Get the fuck out.
No, but and that's the thing. It's the hospitality is on a different level.
It's so Japan. Real.
Yes.
Like it's not like a hotel style American fake ass fucking LA
it's
bullshit.
palpable, and you know it comes from a genuine place just because everyone is raised that way. That is the culture. is maximal consideration, maximal hospitality.
To a fault,
Yeah, for sure.
There's
So
some funny memes about it. Like a guy bumps into me, and the apology is like
so long.
Yeah,
for sure. So that would occupy top 3. I think our first experience with Glitch in Ginza.
Yeah.
Because it blew the top open on what is possible and what kind of shit that they're on. So we had 2 cups of coffee. That one, the notes just said butter, vanilla, peach, which was crazy because it's exactly what it was.
What the fuck is that even
why
mean?
should a coffee do vanilla, butter, and peach? But it was in that cup and it was crazy.
It's perfect.
Yeah. And the other one I did, it was a rum barrel co-ferment aged process. I'm probably butchering that a little bit, but it's like chocolate rum raisin, and it just says long finish, and it just sits in your mouth for like 4 minutes, and you just taste this boozy, chocolatey, raisiny thing.
It's crazy.
And yeah, that heightened experience is just, if you really want to peel back the layers of coffee and really delve in, it's just an otherworldly experience.
Yeah.
So that's top 2. And then the third one, I think just for it's an interchangeable one between our 4 visits, but just the overall experience of Kurisu in Kyoto. Now, very good cups of coffee, like the Ethiopian latte that I had. Well, like I said, that's a compliment to the entire experience. Now that I'm like recollecting, probably another experiential thing, but the cup itself was bananas, was the melon process latte that I got at Lilo in Dotonbori.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because not only did it taste fantastic, but we needed that particular cup of coffee, which I'm going to let you talk about after I wrap up with this, because you alluded to Osaka, how transcendent that is. And I think it's important to go over the highs and lows of that particular day.
Sure.
Because it started incredibly high. It got woefully low to the point where it felt irreparable.
yeah, which is crazy.
Because we were on a day trip from Kyoto to Osaka, and we were finding out how much of the day we really wanted to commit to Osaka, and potentially the next morning if we really got sideways. And then I'm going to let him tell the story, but pretty much we lost our momentum to the point where we almost thought about just cutting our losses and going right back to Kyoto way early.
Yeah.
So hit us with it.
That was wait. So that coffee place is the one that's right before I got the shoes?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So yeah. I mean, I would agree with your list too, but Osaka was such an interesting day. I mean, we got there, Osaka Station, fucking awesome. It feels so metropolitan and new and techie, and the architecture across Japan is just stunning to begin with. But this was like particularly like, holy shit.
I feel like you're in 2050 for sure.
Yeah. It's under construction. I think it was, but it didn't really take away from much at all. I mean, just even leaving the escalator into like the openness of the city was like, holy fuck, felt like probably reminiscent of what someone feels in like a Times Square or, you know, some kind of that punchiness, but less diarrhea on the street. And by less, I mean fucking zero. And there's no garbage anywhere besides in your pockets, because there's nowhere to put it. We go to Glitch, second Glitch experience, which that's that butter coffee that he was talking about. I bought beans from there. I got a cup of the blueberry
bubblegum,
or the pomegranate cranberry bubblegum, fermented batch that I bought, the competition beans. And obviously they make it better than I did today, but fuck, that was crazy. The sniffs on that were like outrageous. We're sitting in this gorgeous lobby of a hotel, taking pictures of each other, hanging out. Everything was just like perfect.
Yeah, the vibes were immaculate, as the kids say.
Yes, exactly that. And a little bit of a fumble, sort of. We were like, oh, fuck, like maybe we should have got tickets for the aquarium before. Maybe we were looking the night prior. That was like, oh, we should have already done this, and they don't have any available.
Asterisk is there's 2 very large aquariums of note in Japan, Okinawa and Osaka. But the problem with the Osaka one is it's very remote. All the things you want to do in Osaka are 30 minutes away, bare minimum, from the aquarium. So you're marooned literally on like a little island finding this place. So it's a commitment on top of it, but continue.
Yeah. So we found some subreddit thread conversation that was like, no, just go. Like, you'll be fine. Yeah. They, like, instead of getting tickets on Klook, like whatever. So we took a taxi, which was cool.
Yeah, an experience.
Yeah, I feel like Corb was like falling asleep in the front or something like that. It's a fucking grandpa ass, always just dozing. And yeah, got over there. We had to wait like, I don't know, an hour or something before the next like entrance time. Went through all of that. And then from there was the beginning of the tumble.
So we left the aquarium. We saw whale sharks. That was really cool. The building itself of the aquarium is incredibly impressive. It's enormous, and it's built around these central tanks that hold, their sharks and larger fish, and 6 stories, and you kind of like corkscrew down the whole thing. So like, all right, let's get some coffee. Let's try to invigorate ourselves, because between waiting,
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, between waiting for the aquarium, being through the aquarium, like it is mentally taxing. There's also not a lot in there too. Yeah. So your energy just starts getting sapped. So like, all right, we need some energy. So we go get a coffee shop stop, and then we're like, all right, and I will take the L on this one, because it was my research that led us into this place. If you're in Tokyo, there is a part of Tokyo called Akihabara, which is like the tech center, the gaming center, all things anime, manga. It's, where you want to go if you like anything technological or gaming
related to any of that.
Yeah, in Japan. And it's a very impressive place. I've gone on a previous visit. But in trying to make our whole itinerary work, which was just, again, very fill-packed already, someone's all agreed that a area in Osaka called Den Town was an equivalent, and it was necessary to to beat the crowds and the chaos of the Tokyo Akihabara. So we did it. We committed. Ronnie and Mike, they collect cards, things like that. So like, this would be a great time for them to really explore that, because there should be a lot of options to do that. Yeah. And again, no offense if you rep Den Town hard, if you've lived there, or
a little offense from me, maybe not from him, but
so fuck. Yeah, please eat shit. But yeah, it is a crustier underbelly of our Japan experience. It's just very dated, dilapidated, seedy in a lot of places. Shout out ugly, gross made hotel stuff. Like,
yeah. So we get off the train, greeted by fat, ugly American men that look like they slithered out of some kind of sex trafficking like forum.
Yeah. Please visit episode 2 to fix your fucking life.
Yes, seriously. God damn. And that already, I was just like, I knew, when the vibe of someone else, you're like, fuck, you're a crust.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that it wasn't just a little bit coming out of the train station. That was the concentration of the entire township, was just slovenly, seedy tourists. Yeah. And then also slovenly, seedy people pandering to those tourists.
Correct.
And then all of the places that you may want to visit that services comic, manga, card ambitions, all just very run down. Yeah. And it sucked our fucking soul. Yeah. And we went deeper into the belly of this grotesque beast, and just lost more of our lives. Yes. And our demeanor,
we were so depressed and shitty. I remember I've explained this to a couple people. I was like, we had probably 2 hours of a bad time in the entirety of the trip. And this was the 2 hours. We get off the train, see these nastos, whatever. Like you said, we're diving into the belly of the beast. Just, whatever. We gotta ride it out. It'll get better. It doesn't. We're walking past places that are like probably what you can see within our main shot in terms of size. And it's just like fucking milk crates all over the place. And there's only like caster wheels That was the whole store.
That's
Do you want wheels to put on your like chair? There's no pairs. There's just random ones. They're all individual. How about another store next to that? What's in there? Power strips. Used shit ass power strips in milk. What is this? I was like, what the fuck? We came from perfect, spotless, gorgeous Kyoto with vines and shit growing on stuff that was beautiful. And every storefront was like, oh, you want a t-shirt? It's $200 US. I was like, sick. Yes. Perfect.
Sign me up.
Yeah, this is my vibe. Oh, God damn. So what happened too? Oh, I tried to buy Pokemon cards while we were there, and I just was so like in the Bronx that I was like, nah, like I'm good. Like no one wanted to help us. I probably looked at some cards at the first place we went to, that little like corner spot, for like maybe 8 minutes, which is a long time to look and poke at a, sliding door.
Sure.
And so whatever, fuck it. We didn't buy shit. We like literally walked down Main Street, and then we were all like, do you want to die? And we were like, yes. And then left.
Yeah. And it was the deliberation of, do we look at trains to go back to Kyoto right now?
Because thank God we did not.
Right. And we went back to Osaka Station. If you've never been to Japan, there are usually several floors of amazing food options. Like, not bullshit. It's not just, yes, it's a food court, but it's on a different level entirely. You can't fathom it unless you've been there.
Yeah.
So we sit there, we deliberate, like, all right, are we actually calling it now? Because we're fucking bummed.
Yeah.
But we persevered. We went upstairs. We found ourselves a really baller steak dinner that at least got us back to neutral. Went back into like the metro area of Osaka, did some shopping, watched an amazing sunset, and we just watched people ice skate randomly.
Yes.
And it just really started changing the tides in our brain. Like, we might be able to salvage something. So, perused our little infinite depth Google interest map.
Yep.
And it turned out there was a couple spots that we had looked at for with food, bar, coffee wise. Like, okay, let's see if we can actually make something work. And that was what brought us to that one cup I was alluding to. It's a place called Lilo Coffee. It's a small, little, tiny, like half hallway kiosk type arrangement. They're blasting like this really cool jazz music. Shout out to Mingus.
Dude, fucking Mingus. You just read my brain. I was just thinking like.
And it just, we're sitting there having coffee at like 10 o'clock at night, watching still a ton of things happen on the street. We're out on like the front porch of this little tiny place. They're blasting.
Vibing.
Yeah, it's
it was so healing.
Yeah,
we could finally sit and just like.
It was a soul enriching experience, and then we had some of the best bar experiences after that too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So went to a place called Bar Nayuta, which is a little speakeasy place you have to find. You have to find and crawl through a small little door to get into the place, which was sick. And then upon their recommendation, we went to a place called Hedonist, which was
so rad.
Yeah, developed by a Frenchman who was marooned there, who was a chef during COVID.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Found mixology and a true master of his craft.
For real.
A person who has an incredibly elevated cocktail menu, makes these elevated concepts while having 3 conversations, being a host, training a new employee, and ushering people in and where they're seating and never being rattled once.
Nah, he was so chill.
Yeah. So it was.
And he was like riffing with us in the middle of like having fun, like poking at shit and still being like speaking Australian to some guys and then switching into Japanese and then.
Yeah. It was on a different level. Like his command of his atmosphere was fucking crazy.
Dude, yeah. That was.
And then from there, we lead us to the river.
Yeah. So we're just walking back to the train at this point, right? Yeah. I don't think so we're just like floating through the Osaka streets at night. It was like a little chilly, but just like perfect. We had just been flushed with alcohol and had our nice jackets on and we're cruising. I got some new shoes, which are not on now, but they're in all our promo shots because they're fucking baller.
They are baller.
And
our man can rock some mustard.
I am the mustard. We go over this little bridge and I hear some familiar music and there's this little perfect human being playing some music from Spirited Away, and literally my eyes are just starting to well. I look at Corb, his eyes are starting to well. Have you seen that movie?
I have not.
Okay. Well, we'll do a viewing for sure. But I think the energy, and I don't think you missed
even
out.
For the uninitiated, it was still
profound. It was fucking crazy. Like,
just looking at this gentleman, just this quaint, perfect, beautiful music, and then turning 180 degrees and just seeing this perfect river cityscape, everyone just living their lives in harmony. And it was getting stuck in that moment will have a certain,
It was remarkable. I mean, I captured 2 videos of it. One of the guy just playing, and another of that same 180. That's just like, I literally would like to have that played for me as my final days.
Yeah, your DMT trip as you're winding down. It's just going to be
send
that.
my ass out over that bridge. Yeah, because it was just so perfect. Like it nothing else mattered. I was just so happy to exist.
Yeah.
And
it was pretty profound, and it seems so simple and so just insignificant. But
literally,
just again having this crazy upswing in energy, back-to-back stellar experiences after like the lowest of the low of that trip,
and having potentially skipped it because we were just so beat and fucking trashed from all of that. Yeah,
that it was a stratospheric climb for sure, and just to be stuck with that like perfect moment. And we were on that bridge for a while. We were that up
parked.
Just watching nothing.
Literally, yes.
But just
the water move, the lights flicker, the ASMR of people lighting cigarettes behind us, walking past, the shuffling of just existing. Like, it was just a moment that was so meditative and grounding. And God bless. It was wild.
It's a lesson to be learned for anyone if you can actually just put yourself in that position or take yourself out of the chaotic vacuum of your life and just, sure, this has nothing to do with fitness, but in terms of health and wellness, sometimes you just need to keep your eyes and ears out for a moment that will on paper look like nothing, but absolutely level you and reinvigorate your soul.
Yeah.
And I think we're, as a culture and a community, especially in the Western society, we're so getting farther and farther away from that because we're just stuck with algorithmic bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's really just get your head up.
Yes.
And look at some stuff.
Yes.
And appreciate what the small things are, and you'll be crazily surprised what that can do for your well-being.
Yeah, I mean, you'll make like core memories that you weren't anticipating. We couldn't have planned that. We couldn't have made it happen. We couldn't have picked it or set it up. You look up and then you see what's happening around you, and otherwise you miss it. We could have just fucking missed it. We could have been so lost in something else, and that would have been, we wouldn't know how tragic it would have been in comparison. I'm talking about a fucking desire to die to this memory. Like, I'm not really kidding. Like, it really felt so all encompassing to like parts of things that matter to me, being with really close friends that I love, and just like having this experience of existing and being like, fuck yeah, it's rad to exist. Like, so highly recommend, go find that bridge, go find that guy. I probably gave him fucking $50, like legit. I threw mad yen in his hat.
Like, please.
I didn't even look. I just was like crying, fucking throwing money in
just
there.
A stitch of cash. Like, take that.
Here's my new jeans. So you don't want these, but they're meaningful, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
And that really like closed out our city time for what felt like that chapter. And then we got into the north.
Yeah. The snowy north.
The snow abyss.
Yeah. Well, I would say this. So there's a tiny little blip, a half-hour blip of the other negativity point of the trip. And it has to be on an American import level too, because you would think anyone could read the room.
Shit.
Yeah. The cultural expression of Japan, I mean, you'd have to be pretty fucking daft, to which unfortunately these people were, to conduct yourself in this manner. But So we were going to go up to Yamanouchi area, which will have the Snow Monkey Valley that you can visit, which was beyond picturesque. It was completely snow covered. You go up into this mountain valley to where these hot springs are, and snow monkeys are allowed to just congregate there freely, which is also an altogether crazy experience.
Yeah.
But getting on the bus, and it's about 30-40 minute bus ride up into the mountains, and everything in Japan is so quiet. No one's screaming, nothing, and you really start to just reside in that peace until it's 8:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
And just these crazy and it's not like they could be the quintessential American fucks.
Yes.
Come in, beers in hand.
Yeah. That's
like
right.
just talking shit about everything.
Literally.
And, with their inclusion on our fucking roster, they had to put together like these impromptu little seats, which the bus was equipped for, like little like booster jump seats, to actually have the added,
It would drop down in between the two seats, a little fucking thing that would come out, and then the other two seats.
And these fat fucking American idiots are just talking shit about this, and the whole time. And like one of the few things where like headphones are going in because I'm getting livid right now. It takes a lot for me to like get even close to that level of annoyance. I was like, you fucking,
they just sent it right there.
Insensitive, ignorant
Bastards.
Pieces of shit.
Yep.
So that was unfortunate.
That did suck.
Yeah. Because I was like, man, really? You're so entitled and just brain dead?
Yeah. It's like, it felt, some of the things they were doing to, if you guys are just like, wow, you guys fucking suck. You're right. We are bastards, but we at least don't show it that way. Yeah. They're yelling
we have
about
our shortcomings for sure, but
1,000%.
we're going to do our damn best to not ruin an atmosphere for 30 fucking other people.
Yeah. 100%. They're like yelling about who got the tickets. Oh, I thought Carol bought the ticket. Oh, I guess we'll just walk back to 7. Like screaming about 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was so irritating and unnecessary.
It was tough.
That's the thing is like there was another thing within Japanese culture amongst the appreciation for quiet or just noise in general and the lack thereof is that you don't always have to fill the space with speaking or sound. I mean, you can have a conversation with somebody and they'll just stop talking because they're like, well, I'm done saying what I had to say.
We've covered what we needed to cover.
Yeah, I don't need to just be like, well, cool, and keep on feeling noise.
Yeah,
and
the awkward silences don't exist there, which is nice.
Yeah.
And they couldn't just live in that at all.
No. They had to like,
And even over like headphones, like no amount of noise canceling fixed it.
No.
I could still.
It almost makes it worse.
Yeah, I can feel the reverberations in my neck from their dumb fucking speech. Anyway.
At least you didn't have the orb breathing down your neck. That's just a little gift for Corb when he listens. But yeah, we get up there, so serene. The other part of we didn't talk about this. Are we gonna add another bit to this?
We may.
Okay. Let's because otherwise I'm going to not know where to go with this.
Okay.
So the other part of the intensity of why this trip was so special for me and being the birthday trip or whatever was that we went in the winter, which I'm very appreciative that they were down to do. And I love the snow. Like it really, really makes me so happy. And being up in this mountain was like, it's a very close match with that Osaka bridge time and then the time that we had in snowy Kyoto.
Yeah. The snow days. Pinnacles.
Yeah. I mean, going back a little bit because I feel like we glossed over. Anytime someone was like, what was your favorite part? I'd say, well, there was 2 favorite things if I had to pick. It would be the first chunk half day in Kyoto with the pretty fresh snowfall going through the bamboo forest up to that shrine and then just like being in the snow.
Yeah.
Like,
which was great because so it's a Rashiyama in Kyoto is incredibly dense with tourism. And the fact that it was for the most part, kind of blizzardy conditions for the first half of the day.
For sure.
It really quelled a lot of the crazy amounts of people. So it was a huge benefit for us because we were willing to trudge kind of through anything to experience as much as we can on foot.
Yeah.
And getting off the train, it's just, we had our little umbrellas and we knew we could see some shrines up in the mountains and we just hiked on, and it just, everything looked like a Norman Rockwell painting.
Perfection. Kids making snowmen, playing like.
So I like how you call that out, because it was very interesting, very cute, very wholesome, but also like, is there like a weird base level programming? Because so many people pretty much just stopped what they were doing at any time to start making snowmen.
Literally Saudi running outside, making a snowman for Kurisu. Like, we were at
Kurisu in Kyoto, and this barista, just like, you could see her entire demeanor change, and she just had to remove herself and just had to start making a snowman outside.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, it was delightful. But it's just interesting how many snowmen were in construction as we moved through various parts of the city.
True. They were all over the place. Mm-hmm. And I think there's some significance to it in terms of like why, like they're a fortune or like a good luck merit kind of thing that comes with it. I think I could be totally wrong. I'm not saying that like this is why. It's more like I think that's a thing. And if not, then fuck me, whatever. Either way, snowmen were sick. Kyoto was incredible, and then we go and have the most unreal view of the river with incredible coffee. Good food at Arabica, and
coffee was at Arabica.
I got some food in there. I got a little snacky ham and egg thing that was just like insane.
Hell yeah.
The water was we just got so lucky. I feel like we were so covered. Like all the things that could go wrong for people, like what they really didn't. Like whatever fucking Matsumoto demons we had in Denden town, like whatever, we took them on the chin.
So that brings us back to Nagano, snowy mountains.
Yep. I feel like we've done enough painting of Kyoto, and
minus something in the Kyoto stretch, because we were there for almost 4 days. We did all agree that we'd have like a baller dinner night.
Oh, so true. That's right.
We had a 2-star Michelin dinner. And for those of you who don't know, Japan has an just ungodly amount of Michelin-starred restaurants because they do have such perfect technique and excellence in all they do.
That's how they do.
So at the 2 and 3 star level Michelin rating, there's already 76 restaurants in Japan alone.
Insane.
So we decided on which one we do. Place called Ryo Sho in Gion district of Kyoto. 2-star Michelin restaurant, and hit us with it.
Oh, and on our way over, timely, where there's a tiny little bit of a drizzle, and all of us are pretty good with time. So we're like, and the trains and everything are actually on time, which is crazy. We're making our way over, a little bit of a drizzle, and all of us really wanted to go get some Japanese raw denim. So of course we go to Momotaro, which
I am all at this point uninitiated. So you have to realize a little bit of background. Ronnie and Mike are a lot more fashion forward and conscious than I am.
Sure.
I don't have experience with it. I fucking come from a life of band t-shirts, crossing over to athleisure wear, to then just athleisure wear.
Sort of.
So I am a charlatan in the house of fashion with
Not
these
anymore.
two.
Now you're
I got a little bit of an insight.
Baptized. I mean, yeah.
So for anyone listening, Ronnie gave up on me. He's like, you're without help. So if you can help me with style, help me.
Yeah, right. We all went to this place pretty much ready to just like ball out. This was like our, let's fucking spend some dollars tonight.
Sure.
Did we go to Le Labo that same day? We must have. I feel like
we did.
Earlier, we did, because it was like
this was like thing. Yeah, getting introduced to Le Labo.
If anyone who knows anyone at Le Labo, if a fucking the 6 degrees of connection that can exist here, Le Labo, please sponsor us. We really like to smell good.
Sure,
it's important to smell good. It's part of a healthy life. Anyway, we got amazing discount Le Labo. We go and pick up fucking amazing jeans. I'm wearing my pair. He got a dope ass jacket. Like it's like one of a kind. They don't sell the shit online. You can buy their clothes online, but what they had in store, they do not have online. And I know because I checked. Corb got some dope jeans. I got the jeans, and then I got this shirt that someone in there was wearing that just was, it was incredible. And I met a German guy who I fucking called where he was from based on his English accent. Thanks to my family in Frankfurt, he was from South Frankfurt, and he was blown. He was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how did you know?" And I
also got to watch Ronnie morph into his previous German self on top of it.
That's true. I was just dishing out some nice Germanisms, yeah. And I think I caught him pretty off guard, which is funny. But it was just such a cool, amazing experience. He did love to speak, and we loved to eat up his words, and we were like really getting sort of close to being late for dinner. So we run over to eat, and this was 14 course, 11?
Probably 11, yeah.
I think 11. It was an 11 course omakase that was just like, I've never had anything like that.
No, it was crazy. And I am not a big seafood person, and I still enjoyed every single dish. With
Mad props to you for...
with no, I mean, not even like a grimace or a wince. It was, this shit's good as hell.
They're that black truffle.
Oh, well, that goes completely in my wheelhouse because we had a Wagyu poached egg and black truffle dish. That was one of the craziest bites of food I've ever had in my life. The like mouthfeel of that, I will never forget. Bonkers. Yeah. Absolutely bonkers.
I was like, hey, can we have hot sake? And one of the women that worked there was like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that. And then she looked at me. I didn't make a face or anything. I was just like, okay, like that's fine. And she looked at me and then just like vanished and came back and was like,
we're going to do that.
Like, what kind of hot sake do you want? And I was like, wow, okay, literally anything. And just, yeah, everything about it was just amazing. Yeah. Like it was so beautiful, except I fucking ruined Daniel's blissful potential.
I mean, it's really funny. It is really incredible. Funny how that small like chaos butterfly effect thing can happen. Background there being that because technically this was a birthday minded trip for Ronnie. Right. So when you get reservations for things, it's a lot of times like the services you use, even the translations are really haggard. So one field that we had to fill out was what's the occasion. So Ryan just puts in birthday. It's like
literally not thinking about it. I was like, oh, places ask this, like it doesn't matter.
Completely inconsequential. Yeah. So for anyone who knows me, the first leading point is like I'm into fitness. Second, an absolute whore for anything apple dessert, treat, confection, whatever. So that is my shit to my core, sort of, pun intended. So we look at our coursing list and it's like a baked apple dish for dessert. And then Ronnie is just as elated as I am. He's like, dude,
I love it too.
Yeah. He's like, this is fucking just destiny. Yeah, like the universe knew you were coming. Like seafood might not be your jam, but this will fucking tune your ass up. So we go through, the whole coursing thing with the sake and various tea services. It was beautiful.
Oh, we got to pick all of our cups for every drink. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was so such amazing. A unique, just blissful experience. We're there for like 2 hours. And at this point, it's only like 11 seats in this place. And we've seen people who are there prior already get the apple dish. And I am like salivating. I am digging my fingernails into my thighs. I'm fucking excited. I was like, ooh, I'm going to fuck that stupid little thing up. And then, so we're waiting. And like true American Applebee's fashion, these sweet people come out with a chocolate mousse dessert with a candle and a sponge sugar thing that says happy birthday. And they sang to us. And it was just such an interesting dynamic because it was so serious and so artful up until that point. They broke character. They broke the fourth wall. Oh my God. They really just made him and us feel absolutely amazing. But then it hit us and we're like, we're the last people in this place. It's getting about that time. And Ronnie just gave us like, I don't think you're getting the apple thing. And I'm like, no,
definitely we're not. Fortunately, that dessert was phenomenal. But
as far as like chocolate mousses go, it was an absolute hitter. More. But thankfully, Nagano, like one of their chief exports is apple. Yeah. And I just
went bananas there. Yeah.
Any apple treat or apple drink, it was consumed. But it was a very funny eventuality that this one little thing, because you said birthday, was enough to change the stars.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, but it's that much more memorable because we probably would have been like, wow, that was really good. But this is like, you'll never forget that happened, that you wanted that thing. And they were like, you want this too?
Yeah, it was just such a funny circumstance.
Yeah. That was incredible.
Back up to snowy mountains. There's something that we need to touch on that also is, for better and worse, permanently etched in our brain.
Me on the mountain or the
okay,
later?
we can do that. So we were up on the mountain, if you don't mind me riffing on this one.
Yeah.
We're up on the mountain. We go see, these awesome snow monkeys in their semi-natural habitat. It's a bit engineered because they're fed there, but they still come down and they bathe and they eat, and you cannot interfere with the monkeys, but they are free to do whatever the hell they please, which means like running around, running into you, and you just have to take it. You're like, I want to pet you so fucking bad.
Don't touch.
You probably have like snipers in the forest just to put you down.
No,
like,
arrows. Poison dart fucking arrows
true.
so you can suffer.
Yeah. So no messing with the monkeys, even if they mess with you.
I got brushed, luckily, like on my calf, and I was like, thank you.
So because of the type of like trail it is, the type of snow that fell, and like the traffic of people, it's like this really slick snowpack. So we're talking people ate shit getting on the bus, getting up to the mountain, getting off the bus. Like many people fell.
Yeah.
Like cartoonishly.
Oh yeah.
Like you like just in, that kind of stuff. So crisis averted for most of that trip. We had our fun up in the valley, beautiful sunrise morning, just so serene, quintessential vibes. So we're coming back. We're nearly off this fucking hill. I am leading our little pack, and I hear like, shh, and then like this thud. I can imagine like a mushroom cloud behind me, just fucking, and I was like, I would love for that to be a random person who just ate absolute shit. And I turn around and fucking Ronnie's giraffe
giving birth to you.
Albatross ass just fucking, I was like, oh God. So
that was crazy.
Yeah. He felt that one the next day, unfortunately. He took it like an absolute champ, but it was
the camera broke my fall, fortunately.
Oh, yeah, his new camera fucking had a nice little welt on his side.
Man, all things considered, could have been way worse. It felt like God clotheslined me. It
was loud, brother. Like it was
like lanky and maybe uncoordinated as you would think I could be. I'm not. I'm like athletic. I balance well. I move semi gracefully, I will say. All things considered, I don't really fall. And so I was like surprised because I was fucking down. I mean, all of a sudden I teleported and my feet were in the atmosphere. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was not a good moment. But it was
also incredible because it was fine. I didn't hit my head and it was hilarious.
Yeah, you weren't concussed. You walked it off. It was good.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was getting off the mountain was interesting. And then we made the executive decision. So where the monkey park is, the towns to the west and south are all built on hot springs. And so there's a lot of onsens and things like that. So for those of you who don't know, most spas, onsens, things like that are like public bathhouses, because of previous cultural hangups, they don't take lightly to tattoos. Now, if you have a small amount of them or very small pieces, they will offer you little bandages. But like of the three of us, I am the least tattooed of the group. Ronnie has a full bodysuit. Mike also has a significant amount. There's no covering that up. So it is, if it's not a private bathhouse, finding something that's public and is tattoo friendly, it's a chore.
It's a big find.
Yeah. So we were in Yamanushi. We found an onsen that was tattoo friendly. And again, we're all very skittish because it's not the fact that we're going in there completely raw. Like that's not the fucking deal, but it's just, there's so much cultural appropriateness that we're trying to find and hit.
Yeah.
And
honor and respect and not just be like loud.
Correct. And when you get farther away from metro centers like Nagano, especially up in the mountains, I mean, people don't speak English the same way. There's not a need to.
Yeah.
So Google Translate, broken translations on like written copy.
Yep.
So you're trying to like fumble through it and like, I hope we don't fuck this up, which spoiler alert, we definitely fucked it up.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's right.
So one of the little prompts is like, please wash yourself before you get into baths.
Like very thoroughly, not like a rinse. Like
yeah, but they don't say that. They just say, please wash yourself before going. So like a public pool scenario in the fucking Americas.
Yeah.
We just shower ourselves and like, that's good. Go around the corner. We just hop in this really fucking beautiful, hot 120-degree water, start boiling. We're like, okay. We're fucking surrounded by a bunch of nude locals. We're nude ourselves. The freak flag is flying. Then we look over and there's like a whole bank of vanities and chairs, and everyone else is scrubbing themselves head to toe in every orifice and their hair to surgical levels. And we're like
looking at each other like,
we did
let's
that.
go outside.
Yeah, we did that. So thankfully there was like another outdoor area that also has its own hot springs, which then became an even more transcendent experience because you're in the mountains of Nagano.
We had little snowflakes coming through. Oh,
just cooking.
Fucking divine.
Until that reality came crashing down with an inclusion that we'll never forget. If you want to lay that one on us.
Yeah, we're all just like lost in the sauce. I mean, this water was fucking hot, and it had to be because it was really cold outside. I mean, the snow is like dripping through the little bits of opening. And was it that he was already in with us? And,
I believe.
And then the arising. Okay, that's what I thought. So we're all just like becoming more and more vegetative, and all of a sudden we feel some, disruption in the water, and a man stands up who had the most outrageously powerful ball sack that has ever existed on this earth. I mean, each testicle was probably like a fucking kid's bowling ball. Like, this guy had power that was unmatched. Like,
yeah, he had a medieval weapon between his
literal
legs.
mace nuts. And we were all just like mesmerized.
You couldn't, because I mean, it's like knocking between his knees.
We could hear the clanging. And
And
fortunately,
he just stands up right in front of you, and
course.
like you can't miss it. You couldn't you'd have to snap your neck so hard to paralysis
try to avoid it.
to miss this fucking wrecking ball just right in front of your face. You're like, oh my god.
I don't know how. I mean, here's a good like example of how well we can stomach it, like, and just like swallow the feelings of wanting to laugh and be
not like a peep.
No
Not
eye
even
contact.
a side eye.
No, because had that happened, it would have probably started to, unfold into a worse scenario. But like laughing at you on the train, where just it got worse and worse and worse. But no, we're all like,
lock the
balls,
fuck in.
Balls.
Yeah.
Balls. Just
Echoing in our psyches.
Oh,
but
man.
We still got out. We had to then fumble through, getting dried off, which is not easy, and there's a way to do that, which we also fucked up too. Where to dry yourself off.
Fucking
Don't bring
idiots.
enough water into the locker room. Like, our towels were there. We're like, all right. Thankfully, the people that could sort of speak English, Mike and Ronnie had already left, and I'm fumbling. I had like fleece sweats, fucking thermal underwear, none of which were going on my wet ass leg. I'm trying to get out as fast as fucking possible to just like slake the embarrassment. But thankfully, there's a really sweet old man, not the giant ball man, a reasonably scrotumed gentleman.
Giant ball man is crazy.
So he was like, in broken English, but just trying to ascertain where we're from, what's the reason for the trip. Another much younger gentleman, like possibly teenager, is also helping him translate. So I was like, okay, the fact that both of these people of various backgrounds and ages are both trying to engage, we didn't completely fuck this up.
Yeah. We weren't like, God bless. I'm so glad
get
that
the
they
fuck
left.
out, you stupid idiots. Like, they weren't insulted, at least to our face.
Sure.
They still made me feel very welcome.
Yeah.
And so that was great. So finally wrangle my stuff out, go outside. They tell me too, that's like very appropriate that you just drink milk. It's like the cultural thing after that. But then we finally ninja roll out of that place. And then we're like, dude, that dude's balls. Like, holy
it finally
shit.
struck us.
Yeah.
The Arabian goggles came over our eyes. And holy
crazy.
shit.
And then, got eventually back to Nagano.
That hotel was so nice.
Yes, the Metropolitan Hotel at the Nagano train station. Also, pro tip, if you're trying to get a lot done on a Japan trip, stay as close to the fucking train stations as you can.
And just, book hotels versus other things.
All right, that brings us to getting back to Tokyo and the closet in which we had to reside.
So we'll go through our the punchiest parts of our last stint in Shibuya. So we get back, we go find the Airbnb, and when we get there, it's like there's a lot of funky instructions. I mean, they're clear, but it's just like weird. They're like, go to this mailbox and put in the code, and then get this thing that has another code in it for this key, and then you have to put another code in for this other door.
If you've ever played Silent Hill video games, this is kind of what it's like.
That was the vibe for sure. It was like I felt like I had a PlayStation controller fucking going through it. So we finally get upstairs. It looks like a weird like jail, hallway of just like, this is where you go if you're bad.
Yeah. And then the door itself looked like a fucking refrigerator door.
It was a fridge handle, which was crazy. We're like fumbling in. We have so much shit because I've bought a lot of stuff. Our bags are growing. You take your shoes off before you enter, or as you enter, there's like mud rooms and space for you to take your shoes off across the board pretty much in any home in Japan. And we're all fumbling, and the place is fucking a sliver of a shotgun hallway into like a little bit of a bedroom.
Like you turn one way, you bang an elbow. You turn the other way, you bang the other shoulder. Like, what is going on?
And then the three of us who are like relatively broad are standing here with our bags and just like fucking tripping over each other. So we figure that out. We get things situated, whatever. That was just a funny thing. Like just staying there was crazy. Was it the same night that we went out for the steak? Or was that the following evening?
No, it was that night. It had to have been because the following.
Because we left early morning. Yeah. So later that evening, like we had reservations at this place for all you can eat Wagyu, which highly recommend you do. There's lots of options to do it. It was incredible. I mean, for the value for what you get was It felt like we stole. Yeah. In fact, they were probably like, fuck, like.
We put down, and they were not small steaks either. No, and you get a choice between like lean meat, marbled meat. Obviously, we went marbled across the board.
Yep.
It's also coursed out too. Like there was like 5 courses, and the fourth one was our all-you-can-eat thing.
Right. We had like 2 things of fish before, another thing of like separate types of cuts of steak, and then we picked our steak, and then it was our
all-you-can-eat.
Shovel this down, you fucking gordos. And
we put down probably 9 steaks each.
Yeah. I shared some scraps because I get full pretty fast, and they were both like fucking powerhouse shovelers. So, but I did have the ice cream and a beer, and I look at Corbin, I'm like, yo, we knew we were going to go out and like drink this evening. And so I was like, yo, like beer before liquor, never been sicker. And he just side eyes me and he's like, that's a myth. And he's sort of right. It was a myth. But he's like, yo, imagine tonight we're fighting for the toilet. We go out, and between him and I, we probably had 10 cocktails?
Yeah, you outpaced me
cocktails, like not like a drink, like 2 or 3 drinks in of each of these drinks, strong things.
Yeah, background for me is I don't drink a ton. I'm not a monk about it by any means, but I probably in that 9-10 days realistically
the same amount of alcohol
within the previous year. No bullshit.
Oh, I'm not surprised by that whatsoever.
So I don't regret it in the slightest. Never had a bad morning from it, and it was fucking the cocktail game in Japan is ungodly.
Otherworldly. Yeah, but absolutely incredible. So we're going out. We hit probably 4 bars that evening, 5 bars, and wrap up with the last one where we had like coffee pudding and some other coffee cocktail that was like fucking punchy. I mean, these things
it was
are strong.
Really heavily rum based, and the ice in it was a coffee cube that melted,
and it was like cold brew.
Yeah.
So we get back.
Yeah, and the girl too is just like, I'll bring back more until it melts. I'm like,
no, you will not.
No,
I will leave in a fucking helicopter.
I will take the first one, enjoy it, suck on the ice a little bit, but
then I'm done.
Yeah, I need to walk, and also we're on like a 5th floor walk up on this place too.
Yeah,
so
nice little narrow ass stairs to get up there.
Get out of here.
So we finally make our way like back home. We probably get back to the prison cell at like, I don't know,
12-1.
Yeah, 1 something. Yeah. It was sort of late, and I I feel my stomach like just like, yeah, fucking playing some rhythms, some dubstep. And I like propped myself up to sit up. I just so deep to my core hate throwing up. I mean, I will avoid it. It's a problem. Like I'll avoid it like problematically, like to the point where I'm like, I think I'm gonna throw up. Like it's like coming. I'm like, no. And I wasn't quite there. I definitely wasn't like drunk enough to be there. And I just knew that like shit was going down. He falls asleep relatively soon. Corb's knocked out. I'm like fucking sitting like this, like waiting to sleep. I eventually fall asleep and then I wake up and I feel like there's an alien just fucking boxing from the inside. And I'm stand up and I'm like, holy shit, I'm sweating all of a sudden. I'm like, holy ass, I'm like really sweating. So I start taking my shirt off and I'm like, fuck, like I'm going to throw up. I really can't throw up. Like they're going to wake up and like, then I've thrown up and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not going to throw up. And I leave all of me out of my ass and my soul fucking sprays. And I've never had this happen before. I've had like food poisoning in Africa where I shit blue and surprise. And this was crazier. Like, and then in the morning I find out that Corb and I were taking fucking shifts and we never ran into each other. But he said, imagine we're fighting for the toilet. And it's like destiny paid us back for the Apple thing we missed and that we didn't collide in the middle of the night, shitting our pants in the hallway. You woke up with like a fever and just fucking.
No, I was a little
Captain
concerned.
America did. And
I woke up and I was like either the meat sweats or I broke a fever or something. And we got on with our day. One had a fucking baller ass souffle pancake breakfast.
That healed me.
Yeah,
and
for a little bit.
I mean, yeah, we had to like nap, but the initial stretch of like waking up, I wasn't even hungover. It was more that my stomach was just like trashed.
Annihilated. Yeah. So, yeah, it was another pretty chill time in Shibuya. Went to some awesome hi-fi bars that night.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Shout out to A10
because
my God.
That highly recommend.
That is, if you can get a reservation there, it is a hi-fi vinyl listening lounge, incredible cocktail program, and just everything you want in a just listening bar.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because you're now seeing really low rent versions of emulations of that in America. It's like,
nah,
no, it ain't it. It ain't it. But yeah, all that being said, go to Japan. It's the sickest.
Yeah, must do.
And then we'll wrap up as when do we go back?
God, as soon as possible.
This year?
I threw it out as a
fall option.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if the stars align. If all you share this, then yeah, we'll be back in Japan.
Yeah, hook it up.
Get us back to Japan.
Yeah, just please. We'll pander for crust and gruel to get back to fucking Japan.
That's right. Until next time, friends.
Until next time.
Bye.